fact that you don't share the same political ideology with him doesn't make you his enemy and doesn't make you a bad person. His intention was to put the whole South together, the West, the South-South, and the Southeast. And he performed very well in putting us together. Nobody has done as much as he has done to put the South together. I stand to say so and to challenge anybody who says he has done more than Edwin Clark. So if all of us have to do what we are doing today to honor him, I think he deserves that honor.
The Clark family and I, as you know, are linked on several levels. And it would have given me great pleasure to deputize for my late colleague and brother, J.P. Clark, in welcoming the patriarch himself on this belated entry into the literary ranks. Even without the ferocious promise of the title, I know that this will be one book launch the nation will not forget in a hurry. I cannot wait to read how it tackles some of the history of a society along whose fault lines we have occasionally interacted directly and indirectly, but of course, the nation has been treated to more than a rich foretaste in past years.
You cannot describe him in one or two sentences because the man is multidimensional. But one thing you cannot take away from him is the fact that he loves this country. And he works with all Nigerians. Yes, he'll be frank and tell you his views, but he's the first to admit that you have a point. What he did with education. After the war, you wouldn't have thought the roles he played would allow him lead Bermudia's government to the University of Nigeria. Some of the first tables and chairs and so on that we had in the University of Nigeria to start to work again in that university. I was in the University of Nigeria for 37 years. So he is the one that gave us the confidence to start a second time.
He has done a lot. I've read about him when we were a very young boy. In those days we were reading about the drums. Newspaper knew that drums at that time, very in the 60s. And they are doing fine. And they're still doing the same thing. What else can you say about him? He is going to live long and he's left behind a good legacy.
And we are grateful because God has blessed this country enormously with natural and human resources. It will be a great pity if we wasted it. And we still pray. When we were young, we read Renaissance Africa, and we still pray that Nigeria, using its enormous resources and a unique geographical position, will be able to play the role which he dreamt about.
He has brought all the southern states together. Not only has he done that, but he has brought us together in the hope that this country will be restructured. He has always spoken about the present constitution, that it is not our constitution, it is a military constitution. And therefore, he's always wanted restructuring.
About how he didn't give up on principles, but he succeeded through tactics and through strategy in always smoothing out conflicts that were brewing between the South and the North. They were there. And so he takes the credit for the fact that that conference did not break up.
He is today a national icon, symbol of democracy, extraordinary leader. On the strength of his example and a cocktail of courage, wisdom, resilience, and patriotic spirit.
Because we need him. I need him for as long as I continue to chair the board, because I need to tap from his wealth of knowledge and experience. And I hope that that will guide us and help us as we work to reposition NDDC.
The knowledge of patriarch and my little self, please don't gamble with it. It's a compendium of what Nigeria was and what Nigeria we wish it to be. Patriarch is not just a nationalist by the road. It's not a convinced nationalist, a converted nationalist. When you read the book, you know that nationalism and patriotism is inborn, right down from the school. And I really said, reading through the book, he said when was the Commissioner of Education, when was in the primary school, he was able to move from one school to the other because there are many. And I may say, sir, those of you who are younger, who are likely to implement what Nigeria should be, don't play with 2014 National Conference. Whether you like it or not, Jonathan will go down in history as the best thing he did, in my own view, for setting up that conference. And I say publicly again, without any fear of contradiction, you can never get the composition of a conference as composed at that conference, again in Nigeria. The job for us in this country today is to see that right now, this constitution must be changed to federalism in accordance to 2014 National Conference. Don't waste our money again by setting up any other conference. Take that report, take a refined report, set up a committee to reconcile, and we go where we are going. Any other thing is pretense. Any other thing is pretense. And anybody sincere about the unity of this country, about the progress of this country, don't tell me about any economic program until you change this constitution, you will go nowhere. Anybody who is a nationalist who loves this country today, particularly now to President Bola Tinubu, I am happy Professor Akemi is here, you are his friend. I am not his enemy, he is my son. The only difference is that we disagree politically. He's a loving young man. I have never asked for a favor that he has not given me. But the issue is, the question of this Nigeria to be together is something many of us, like Clark, as an inborn too. We want everybody in Nigeria to be together, but we don't want any tribe to dominate the others. That is the difference. Let us persuade our northern element to agree that let us live together on equal basis. You can't attempt to dominate the rest of the country and you have peace. And until you agree to that, there will be no peace.
And I said, what kind of society is it that can have elders who do not speak up? You know, Eleazar, the Jewish scribe, at 90 was forced. Just pretend that you are eating swine flesh and it will go, we'll let you. And he says, no. Part of the challenge of Nigeria is that the elders keep quiet. What are they afraid of? But we are fortunate in elders like Pa Ike Clark and Pa Adebanjo